What's up, travelers and explorers? Welcome back if you're not new here. I'm Britt, an American who's been living in Spain for the past 6 years. Today, I'm reporting live from the beautiful, incredible Spanish Canary Island of La Gomera, and today we're talking all about what to do in Vallehermoso. And before we jump into today's adventure, let me tell you a little bit about Vallehermoso. Vallehermoso sits on the northwest of the island of La Gomera. It's one of the island's oldest and most traditional towns, and it's also one of the best starting points for exploring La Gomera. So today, I'm starting here. All right, so we are officially starting the hike in Vallehermoso. We are going to the Presa, and it should be an hour and 41-minute walk. So looking forward to these views. They look absolutely spectacular. Gonna flip this around so you guys can get the front views. Look at how beautiful. They don't call it Vallehermoso for nothing. Vallehermoso literally translates to beautiful valley in English, and honestly, as soon as you get to Vallehermoso, you'll understand why. And with that being said, the first thing I definitely recommend doing in Vallehermoso is hiking. If you do only one thing in this part of La Gomera, let it be this. Vallehermoso wasn't just made for hiking. It feels like it was designed for it. The entire town sits in a huge volcanic valley surrounded by green cliffs, terraced farms, palm trees, and ancient pathways that weave between them. Everywhere you look, there's a trail teasing you to follow it because the views are absolutely spectacular. And here's the best part of hiking in this part of La Gomera. You don't have to go far to find something magical because one of the most beautiful spots in all of La Gomera is actually right here in this valley. I present to you Presa Encantadora, which literally translates to the Enchanted Dam. This hike to Presa Encantadora was easily one of my faves in La Gomera, and the reason for that is because the path to Presa Encantadora takes you through quiet farmland, beautiful lush greenery, and the kind of peaceful nature that makes you forget time exists. Plus, the hike to Presa Encantadora is the perfect first hike in Vallehermoso because it's accessible, it's not too long, and it gives you that wow moment almost immediately. Plus, it's also a great warm-up if you're planning to take on the bigger hiking trails that lead deeper into La Gomera. And speaking of that, once you've seen Presa Encantadora, you're ready for the next adventure because the Valley of Vallehermoso opens up into some of the most incredible hiking routes on the entire island. Now, before you start the hike to Presa Encantadora, here are a few things you need to know so you're prepared and can enjoy it to the fullest. First things first, the hiking trail to Presa Encantadora is moderate. It's not hard, but it's definitely not easy, and it's not flat. The path is super beautiful, but it's not just a straight walk, so I figured I'd mention it that there are gentle climbs, there's rocky sections, and there is some uneven ground. Now, you don't need to be an athlete to do this hike, but you definitely should wear proper hiking shoes. Trust me, sneakers with good grip will make a big difference here. The next tip regarding this hike is to definitely bring water. There are no shops on the way, so once you leave the town center, there's nowhere to buy water. Bring at least a bottle or two, especially on sunny days. La Gomera can get warm even when it feels breezy, so make sure to keep that in mind. The next tip on hiking Presa Encantadora is to download your hiking trail to your phone before you start your hike. Signal can be hit or miss in Vallehermoso, and the last thing you want is to get lost hiking. I love all trails for my hiking routes, and the reason why is because you can easily download the hiking trail onto the app. I'm a pro member for this reason, and I think it's always good to be prepared and to know where you're going. The next thing you should know about this hike is that the weather changes fast. This is a valley and it could switch from sunny to cloudy in minutes, especially if you go higher into the gorge or you're just going higher up into elevation. So the shade might come quickly. And with that being said, I would highly recommend to consider bringing a light layer or a windbreaker. You don't need anything super heavy, just something to keep you comfortable in case you get a little chilly. And the last tip I have on hiking Presa Encantadora is to start early for the best temperature. And the reason for this is because the sun is really strong in Spain. So I would recommend to hike earlier to beat the heat versus later in the day and hiking in the sun. And once you've finished the hike to Presa Encantadora and made your way back down into town, Vallehermoso has a few gems you absolutely shouldn't miss. The next recommendation I have for what to do in Vallehermoso is to eat at Tasca el Karaka. This place is a local favorite, super cozy, and serves some of the best traditional Canarian food in Vallehermoso. Think typical Canarian dishes like lapas, croquetas, and passion fruit desserts. Tasca Karaka is the perfect spot to refuel after a morning of hiking in Vallehermoso. Plus, the staff is super friendly. So if you want that real small-town Canarian vibe, this is where you get it. And the next thing on what to do in Vallehermoso is to visit the town church that's named Iglesia de San Juan Bautista in Spanish. This beautiful white and stone church sits right in the heart of Vallehermoso. It's peaceful, elegant, and it feels like the center of daily life in the town. Here are some important key facts to know about this church. The church is one of the oldest religious buildings in Vallehermoso. The first temple in that spot actually dates back to the 1600s, and over time, after damage and deterioration, it was reconstructed. The current buildings made major form dates to the early 1800s. The current structure of the church is described as neo-Gothic with a floor plan shaped like a Latin cross. Lastly, the church endured many difficulties such as fires, structural problems, and lack of funds. For decades, the church remained partly unfinished. Only in 2010 was a major restoration completed, bringing the church back to its former prominence and preserving it as a key monument for the town. And it's not just a historic building. The church remains very central to local religious and cultural life, such as on June 24th each year, the town celebrates the feast of their patron saint, which is San Juan Bautista, with processions, bonfires, music, and street party atmosphere. And trust me when I say it's a huge party. And if you happen to travel to La Gomera without a car rental, don't fret. I made a whole travel guide on how to explore the island by bus, so be sure to check that out. And there you have it. And that's Vallehermoso. This little valley in the northwest of La Gomera has everything that makes the island of La Gomera so special. So if you're planning a trip to this beautiful island, make sure Vallehermoso is at the top of your list. Explore it, enjoy it, and let it surprise you the way it surprised me.